Mindanao is home to various indigenous peoples who have kept their cultural traditions through a time when most Filipino communities have adapted Western ways due to the Spanish and American rule for 350 years. Traditional music is an integral part of the daily lives among the indigenous peoples to accompany activities associated with religious ceremonies, social occasions, and work. In general, two groups of people live in Mindanao, the Islamized and the Lumad. Lumad is a Visayan term for native or indigenous. The Islamized groups have epics, lyrical poems, narratives, children's songs, and funeral songs. The Darangan is the epic of the Maranao and the Maguindanao. Ensemble Kaisa is the parangsabil of the Tausug. The Lumads of Mindanao sing various vocal music of epics, rituals, narrative, debate, children's lullabies, and funeral songs. Hans Brandos in 2018 has observed that the musical traditions of Mindanao are fast disappearing. Some of these are due to the threat of physical extinction due to land-grabbing practices of the intruding migrants. The pressure of surviving drives people to abandon their century-old traditions and assimilate with the main culture. These amazing musical traditions of Mindanao deserve serious attention in their preservation, development, and sustainability.
With the passage of Republic Act 11904, known as the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act, indigenous communities, artists, artisans, creators, cultural workers, researchers, writers, and other stakeholders are encouraged in their creative capacities to do their part in developing this precious heritage.
Our Bahandi, or wealth of traditional music, will soon be gone unless something is done to sustain them.
Street dancing is a powerful and dynamic art form that requires creativity, skill, and passion. It is an ever-evolving art form that inspires and unites people from different backgrounds. Beyond its entertainment value, street dancing is also a means of social and cultural expression, making it a truly unique and valuable art form. dancing has its roots in the traditional dances of various communities around the world, deeply tied to the history, identity, and cultural practices of these communities. Powwow dancing is a traditional form of indigenous street dancing that originated in North America as part of Native American culture. The Haka dance of the Maori people in New Zealand and the traditional dances of various indigenous communities in Latin America. Adapting to new environments and cultural contexts, these artists created new forms of ethnic or tribal street dancing. With the rise of globalization, better means of communication and transportation, these dances have spread more widely across the world. The Philippines, specifically Mindanao's rich and diverse cultures, has much to be proud of, and one of the contemporary ways to showcase these cultural traditions is the street dancing that has been given much boost by the country's tourism programs. Slogans like "Wow Philippines," "It's more fun in the Philippines," have been meant as come-ons to entice tourists, domestic and foreign, to visit the country. Ligaya Fernando Amilbangsa, in an interview with the Philippine Daily Inquirer in 2014, said, "Indigenous dances are very important because they are the manifestation of our identity as a people. The dances are our story, our history, our culture. They are the way we express our connection to the land, to the spirits, and to each other." Many street dancing events in Mindanao are a part of the local culture in areas where they are held. They have evolved into celebrations to highlight the culture of the place and its people. As a communal event, it is likewise an invitation to experience a way of life. As a part of the local festival, street dancing becomes one of the major tourist attractions in themselves. The creative expressions revolve around what sets the concept unique from other performing groups in other festivals. Festival street dancing is a cultural phenomenon that has been gaining popularity in recent years, and for good reason. Not only is it a great way to showcase local traditions, but it is also has a significant economic benefits as a tourist attraction. Festival street dancing also plays a role in promoting tourism in Mindanao. Tourists are attracted to these festivals to witness and experience the unique cultural expressions of the region. These can lead to increased economic opportunities for local artists, performers, and vendors, as well as for the local businesses that cater to tourists. Today, street dancing seems to be the much-awaited part of festivals and celebrations that take place in many areas in the country, especially in Mindanao. Color, sheer verve, and the fresh look at cultural traditions in dance, music, and visual effects mark the festivities with aplomb. It is important to preserve them because they are a part of our heritage and they help us understand who we are as Filipinos. The Sining Kambayoka Ensemble and the form bayok. Since its founding in 1974, the Sining Kambayoka Ensemble has been widely acknowledged as one of the top theater groups in the Philippines. Its numerous awards received by the group from esteemed government institutions attest to this claim. For its 50th anniversary this 2024, the MSU Sining Kambayoka Ensemble has received various awards and recognitions from the country's respected and prestigious award-giving bodies like the 1977 Aliw Award, the Balagtas Award for Drama in 1981, and recently the 2020 Cultural Center of the Philippines Kaisa sa Sining Mindanao Gador Award. Drawing inspiration from the rich myths and legends of the Philippines, the Sining Kambayoka reinterprets these stories in modern contexts while retaining their folk essence. For example, in Mga Kwentong Maranao, Pilandok discusses contemporary issues. Sining Kambayoka has also explored theater fusion, incorporating avant-garde elements by blending the Kambayoka style with Brechtian techniques as seen in productions like Usakadamgo, a Cebuano adaptation of William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Ang Hukom, also a Cebuano adaptation of Bertolt Brecht's Caucasian Chalk Circle, and in many children's plays written by Arthur Casanova. Frank G. Rivera, the founder of Sining Kambayoka, arrived at a time when the theater scene was active in Mindanao, but he thought of some other theater form than the usual fare in Manila.
Narinig ni Frank Rivera na sa kabilang bahay may nagbabayok na pinapatulog yung bata. So, kinakarga ng babae yung bata tapos nagbabayok. No? Pagkagabi noon, nanood sila ng Bayok Festival sa lugar na yon, and then nakita niya yung dalawang performer, honor, babae at saka lalaki, na nagsasagutan through Bayok. And then, na-realize niya na it is a theater.
Sining Kambayoka, the official theater ensemble of the Mindanao State University in Marawi City, first experimented with this form in 1974 with their production, a 45-minute improvisational play called Si Pilandok, based on the Maranao folk hero as Pilandok, Juan Tamad among the Tagalogs, and Juan Pusong among the Visayans. The bayok is a fast-paced poem. It is set to music, deriving its narrative from the local narratives and from the epic Darangan, a collection of episodes sung in a slow tempo. The bayok is typically performed by trained singers called honor and pababayok, who are skilled in the traditional musical form, during the feast gathering known as Kambayoka, as described by Dr. Juan Francisco, an Indologist. Dr. Helen S. Tejero, indigenous musicologist and educator, said that the bayok begins with a melismatic tremolo singing with a limited range, where long phrases are sung with free, fluid rhythm, then shifts in rhythm called tintik. Pepito Somayan, the present artistic director of the Sining Kambayoka Ensemble, said, "The bayok is the way of the spirit. In the rise and fall of prolonged vowels a, u, then, these are followed by spoken words, with themes of love, jealousy, betrayal, genealogy, and praising of the works of a leader and a person, and so on.
Okay, yun naman talaga ang basis ng sining kambayoka. Yung dalawa na lalaki at saka babae. Kapag nag-diversify sila, nagsasagutan sila, no? So it's really a theater. Diba? Kung titingnan mo siya, nasa stage, may space, no? May performer, no? May lights na, kahit nakandila dyan o ano ba dyan, ayan. May production design, may naka-costume yan sila. Diba? Tapos may emotions na nakikita. So it's already a theater, diba? And then, yun, kasi, yes, kambayoka, we always grounded that type, no? So from time to time, we always sing, no? Bayok as an improvisational bayok before we transform into our own kambayoka theater form na nagiging bahay ang mga chorus line, nagiging bato, nagiging kahoy, nagiging ano pa ba, so on and so forth dyan. Mas lalo siyang lumaki, lumawak, so parang siyang mas lalo mong na-promote yung traditional culture ng Maranao na bayok into kambayoka theater form na makikita mo na sa stage, hindi lang nakikita sa Maranao, just nakikita na sa iba-ibang bansa, o iba-ibang lugar, no, sa Pilipinas, no. So it's nag-expound siya, no. Mas lalo siyang na-improvise pa yung the word na bayok. So I think yun ang purpose ng kambayoka, to educate the people, no? Para from time to time aware tayo sa the social issues rather, no? Para naman umangat ang buhay ng tao. Yun siguro ang pinaka main purpose doon ng sining kambayoka. Kaya from time to time talaga, we don't stop, no, to mount. As long as nandito kami, we will mount and we will show to the people.
The Sining Kambayoka Ensemble of the Mindanao State University is a shining example of the rich cultural heritage of Mindanao and the Philippines, portrayed in the form of theater. The Sining Kambayoka Ensemble is a true testament to the power of theater arts towards the promotion and the strengthening of Mindanao's cultures and diverse heritage.
The lakub of the Maranaos of Lanao is an indication of their cultural identity.
Its high cultural and artistic value supersedes its economic value, for it reflects the rich and colorful culture of the Maranao, and at the same time, it serves as key to the social cohesion of the community members, as well as promotes harmonious relationships and teamwork. The lakub is a fine example of bamboo craft used traditionally as a tobacco container by sultans and the members of the royal families.
The lakub is a tubular container of varying sizes made from a large endemic bamboo variety called tamlang. The tamlang bamboos are harvested during the first full moon of the summer months. The outer layer of its green skin is removed before cutting this into several sizes. The bamboos are then exposed to the sun for 3 weeks. The creation of lakub is a laborious process, especially with its complicated dye technique. The Maranao artisans cover selected portions of the bamboo while dipping the other portions in dye. They use bold primary and secondary colors: violet, yellow, dull red, and dull green. The prominent design motif is the okir, from a Malay word which means molding. This is a unique art form that the Maranao makers respect as component of their royal art and culture, according to Dr. Nagasura Madale. Designing the lakub is done with utmost care and attention using special paper. After mounting the paper-made design patterns, the bamboo is covered with a special katchak cloth and then wrapped with banana lids. The securely tied bamboo is soaked into a container of boiling water for approximately 10 minutes. After boiling, the artisans carefully peel off the paper patterns glued in the bamboo and allow it to dry as described by Cobra Binatara. But the production of the lakub has declined over the years due to many factors. Among them, the peace and order situation, the scarcity of raw materials because of over-harvesting of tamlang, the tedious process in making of lakub, the diminishing number of cultural masters, and other opportunities of making a living. Without doubt, generations of culture bearers and cultural masters continue to survive and have endured valuing their indigenous knowledge, systems and practices, or IKSP, in relation to the intangible cultural heritage, or ICH element. However, the need to support them by ensuring that they can avail of the various social protection is crucial. This is an urgent agenda that must be pursued to continue safeguarding the ICH element. There is also a need to put in place urgent safeguarding measures, including the mitigation of conflicts and the raising of the stakeholders' readiness in disaster preparedness. These actions must be among the priority concerns of local governance, including, of course, environmental protection and heritage conservation.
Mindanao's communities, especially those of indigenous groups, have their share of houses that stand out for their beauty and scale. Such is the house of a prominent person and, in this case, a datu or a sultan in Lanao. This prominent structure depicts a community's identity, a place to sleep in that comes in various names. A few samples are Tulugan in Manobo, Torogan in Maranao, Tulugan Hagonoban in Subanin, and Baysug for the Tausug, and Astana for royalty. The Torogan in Lanao stands out in the community because of its panulong or carved wooden panels at the end of wooden beams, much like the prow of a boat, often in the form of a naga or serpent-like design, and the pakurabong design or after the ferns, common in the Lanao area. The Torogan has 2 floors. The first floor has walls made of stronger materials, for it serves as a kota or fort. Like the Tulugans of other indigenous communities in the past, the first floor was used for household implements, food supplies, and for quarters of slaves. The upper floor must be wide enough to accommodate about 200 people during feasts or celebrations called the common space, where the people gather for festivities, political meetings, and audiences with the Sultan. A significant feature is the pangao or elevated bed for the Sultan and his bai, and where important guests are entertained. This communal house, described as crystal-like in myth, is supported by the largest post, the tapuwili, a central post, and 25 massive posts of hardwood called tokod, under tie beams called dorong. These tokod rests on round stones that makes the Torogan move with every movement of the earth. During the 1955 earthquake that hit Lanao, among the structures that remained intact were the Torogans. The other parts are composed of the second floor called lantay. It is supported by dulong, floor joists, while the dinging-ding or walls are held together by wood studs called tatuk. The roof indigenous materials like reeds, bamboo splits, or wooden boards. For the sides, for the thatched kogon or talahib for the roof. Since the American period until today, GI sheets have replaced these for the Torogan's roof. A prominent feature is the lamin or tower, constructed on top of the Torogan. Here a bai or princess is kept until she marries. The entrance to her room faces the Sultan's bed. She rarely leaves the lamin. She stays within with her ladies, and she learns the arts and graces of a bai. She leaves only when she gets married. The decline of the Torogans and today their neglect has been caused by some factors. A few were converted to fortresses during the Spanish-Moro Wars and during the American occupation. By the abolition of the nobility in the 1934 Philippine Constitution, and owing to the perishable materials of the Torogan, which are prone to termite attacks and dampness, causing their rapid decay. Most of the Torogans of Lanao in the past years show the same pattern of decay. Architect Chris Benitez said, "Today, save for the malaawalay or houses of the nobility, there are 10 existing Torogans for families of the highest ranks. Only 2 are habitable and they are found in Maranao, and the restored Torogan in Bubong Lanao del Sur, while the Dayawan Torogan in Tuca is for brief visits only, even if a modernized replica is currently being constructed behind the original Torogan."
The colorful and diverse artistic expressions of the cultures of peoples are found in Mindanao weaves that form part of the country's intangible cultural heritage. The Philippine government recognizes a person or a group of artists for their contributions to the country's intangible cultural heritage by conferring on them the Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan or Gamaba, alternatively known as the National Living Treasures Award.
The Gamaba Award or Gawad Manlilika ng Bayan is an institutional award. When the weaver is declared Gamaba, there is an institutional support, which means the artist is capable of establishing a schools for living tradition.
Of the 16 persons or groups awarded so far, 6 are recognized as weavers of textiles. Among the 6, 5 are from Mindanao. Mindanao produces more weaves from its ethnic communities, and hopefully, given time, these other textile traditions will also earn their place in the Gamaba Gallery of the National Museum. The oldest evidence of cloth manufacturing in the Philippines are stone bark cloth beaters. If bark cloth was ever made in Mindanao, it is no longer extant. Links to the earliest cloth weaving tradition, however, persist. The banton cloth, the oldest example of textile found in the Philippines, is like the abaca ikat textiles of Mindanao.
Yung banton cloth was found in Romblon, meaning that sometime years ago, mga 200 or 3 centuries ago, this practice is extant in other parts of the Philippines. Ngayon nakikita na lang siya sa Mindanao and Cordillera. So ang implication nito that indeed some of the cloth will become extinct kung wala ng practice, no? So this is the significance of the banton cloth. Yeah, that there is ikat all over the Philippines 300 to 500 years ago. And ngayon, ang nakikita na lang siya sa Mindanao at sa Cordillera.
The 4 extant warp ikat knowledge systems have similarities in material and techniques. Even its mythological connections and narratives are similar, and it is not surprising that one might think that warp ikat is a shared cultural practice. These textiles are all woven from abaca, Musa textiles, and colored with the same dye stuff. These cloths are produced from the immediate environment of the weaving communities. There used to be a community of Sabanan weavers producing another ikat tradition, the pulao. But a recent survey showed that there is no living, active or inactive weaver to be found. The banton cloth suggests that the ikat practice in bast threads have disappeared in one community, and the pulao, another bast fiber ikat, vanished in this century. The question is the Sabanan pulao just one of the others that have died out even before it was discovered? Weft ikat is the other ikat tradition practiced in Mindanao, shared by 2 cultural communities. The Binalodan, as they are called by both the Maranao and the Iranon, are resist-dyed cloth, ikat working on the weft threads instead of the warp. The Binalodan of the Maranaos and the Iranons. Binalodan in Maranao weaving appears in 3 types of malongs, tubular skirts, in langkits, decorative strips of the malong landap, as decorative stripes in the malong binalodan, and in large patterns in a large section in the body of the malong aandon, sporting an intricate composition that is similar to the partola of ikat from India. Binalodan is also extensively used in Maranao blankets and as canopies. The malong, among other clothing, is still preferred among the Maranao, Maguindanao, and Iranon men and women. The malong is a versatile cloth that can be worn as clothing or as accessory in everyday and special occasions. The versatility of the malong makes it a preferred item of clothing. Aside from the binalodan, the inaol comes in diverse design patterns, employing 3 weaving techniques: plain weave, supplementary weft weave, and tapestry weave.
Traditionally, weaving is feminine art. Ibig sabihin, it is reserved for women because men have other roles in weaving. But lately, as of late, we found several male weavers engaging in weaving. No, and in the case of the Tinalak of the Tibolis, the Iranons, binaludan ng mga Iranon, at meron din sa North, no? Sa mga Itnig at Singian, meron na rin mga male weavers. The emergence of male weavers is very significant. It not only changed the reason why we weave, no? They can also contribute to the preservation. Even now, the men are contributors to the preservation of the textile. Like many intangible cultural heritage of the Philippines, not only in Mindanao but also in the Philippines, is also threatened. But with male weavers and contemporary designers using the textile, I think there is hope for Mindanao textile.